Hey, Regg, you shave your balls?
I do shave my balls.
What product do you use?
I use Manscaped, especially the Lawnmower Trimmer 4.0.
Wow, I need to check that out.
I think you should. And with our code, RAPPINORDER20, you can get 20% off.
Wow, Regg, thanks for that. My girl's going to be so happy.
Smooth as eggs. And welcome to another episode of Rap in Order. I'm First Class Regg.
I'm Taurian B.
Today we got that Aviles guy joining us.
Yo.
It's been a while, brother.
It has been a while.
It's good to see you.
How you guys doing?
Good. Today, we're going to go over Ego Trippin', which is Snoop Dogg's 9th studio album. It was released in 2008 through Snoop's Doggy Style Records and Geffen Records. The album debuted at number 3, sold over 137,000 copies in the first week. He had some pretty good reviews on this. He had production from Polo the Don, Hit Boy, Terrence Martin, The Neptunes, Knots, DJ Quick, Raphael Sadiq, Teddy Riley. So it was jam-packed. It was my suggestion for us to kind of revisit this album because it just stands out to me in Snoop's catalog. Like, Snoop has so many albums, but this one stood out in particular because I just remember vividly him saying when this album was coming out that it was called Ego Trippin' because he had to let other artists and other people write for him. So it was like a collaborative effort that he just wasn't used to. Like, of course, like we know years later, right? Of course, it came out that Hove wrote for Snoop on Still DRE, you know. So we know that people have written for Snoop before. But this album, you know, this was something that he kind of just let the powers that be, like, they do their thing. And in this case, it was the writers that like contributed the way that they did. And also, sorry, I'll let you go in a second. But also, he called it Ego Trippin' because at the time, the plan was originally for him to have no features. So that's what he was going into this album as. But, you know, of course, that changed with the features that he has on this album. But I just wanted to know what we thought of this album. I think it actually came up in a conversation that I had with Taurian because we were talking about you know, like when artists writing their albums and, you know, how that goes for rappers and in this case with Snoop, with him being a veteran, how that was for him. What were you going to say, though?
Well, let's scale that back to answer more what you're saying now. A big thing with Ego Tripping, I think Snoop finally recognized his stance in pop culture at this point. I think he already knew rap-wise who he was and what he meant to the rap world. But I think at this point he understood his pop cultural significance because I think that's much bigger. I think Snoop is, we've discussed this, we all agree, Snoop is hands down the most famous rapper that's ever been. Because my only Spanish-speaking grandmother, like, back in the day, used to be like, yo, ese Snoop Doggy Dogg. Mm-hmm. You know, he's the one, I think, cultural significance that no matter where it is, he's the most recognizable figure when it comes to hip-hop, universally. Mm-hmm. Snoop at this point, I think, didn't understand what he really could do and how Snoop was so dynamic. And I think after this album, because his leading single off of this was the Sexual Eruption, mm-hmm. I think he understood what he could be further and further. And that's where we get the offshoots of Snoop doing a gospel album, Snoop doing a full Jamaican-themed reggae album, dancehall album, whatever you want to call that. And then the Snoop just branching out to all these different places. After this, I mean, before this, we heard Snoop touching the pop culture-ness, but this album, I think, is Ego Tripping because he got to originally slated, if I remember correctly, he had Bono was supposed to be out on the album, Madonna, like he was really flexing his pop stardom and who he could touch. Mm-hmm. And they didn't all make it except for Charlie Wilson as a feature on the album of all the names that he was talking about at the time. And
Willie Nelson's on the album.
Huh? And Willie Nelson. Willie Nelson is on the Johnny Cash tribute, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So this album, I think Snoop finally has grown into understanding what he means culturally as opposed to just hip hop, but on the broader spectrum of just world culture.
And it was also a lot of it also was just him, like you said, it was him breaking out of the mold that that the name Snoop Dogg carried. Like everybody saw Snoop Dogg as like this West Coast MC, you know, affiliation with Pac, Suge. But this album in 2008.
Well, it goes deeper because of the whole parental advisory stickers and thing for then. Because back then, I forget the lady's name. That it was a big deal then, and Snoop Dogg was being made an example of specifically at the time of people of derogatory lyrics and everything at the time.
Yeah.
So him being him just meant way more in the long run in his longevity.
Yeah, and I think this is him kind of just he's kind of just stretching his creativity here, and I'm really thankful that he did. I mean, without this album, even though like it's not the most talked about in his catalog at all, but I think without this album, we don't get the Snoop that we have today. That's, you know, the one that can go in so many different arenas or feels so comfortable going in so many different areas like he does. What were you gonna say about?
I was wondering when I was going to get to talk. I was like, damn, am I the co-host or is Danny taking my spot? Damn, right? All right.
Don't be rude. We have a guest.
Well, he's not a guest. He's a regular. But yeah.
My bad.
Well, what were you thinking, sir?
Well, what I was thinking is that this album was his best body of work in like a long time before this. And what he like had planned and what he was doing for this project was actually like really, really like significant because he was trying to like start a super group with him, Teddy Riley, and DJ Quick called QDT, and that was like really, really like a big deal like on the horizon. And so like with this project, him taking a step back, like you guys have already said, right? Because before, like, you know, he would always want to like do the hook, so he would want to have like say so in like the direction of the song where he kind of like let people come to him. So it was kind of like really significant also because he was making record, like he always used G-funk and everything like that, right? But basically he started like this, like where he really started like singing and really flexing, like stepping out of that lane of just being like a total gangster rapper. So like that was just really dope. And I just really like enjoyed this project surprisingly because I listened to it one time when it first dropped, and that was it. I never like revisited it. I knew the singles from the album, and let's also not forget that during this time, it was around the time when he was when he had his reality show that was on MTV, and it was like
Fatherhood. I used to watch that,
and it was alternate to the Ozzy Osbourne show. So, you know, it was like they would basically like they would come on like back to back. So you had the Ozzy Osbourne show, and you have like this crazy like rocker with his family, and then you have Snoop Dogg the gangster rapper with his family, and at the same time, him and his wife, as she's called Boss Lady, her nickname, they were like going through while they were taping the show, they were like going through problems because Snoop was still like living a single man's life. And like he addresses some of that on this album as well, but like they reconciled because his daughter got sick and like they realized like what they was going through was stupid and everything like that. But yeah. And then my last point is that 2008 was fucking loaded and with albums, and Snoop really held his own. When we get to it, I'll list off the albums that dropped that year. It was a very, very heavy album that year. I'm sorry, last thing. This was the first year before the hip hop, the new guard of rappers took over. 2008 was the last year without Drake, Cole, Kendrick, and this was the only year. This was all right since the first freshman class was in 2007. Then they took 2008 off. Then 2009, the real like freshman, like how it's being presented now happened. So that's like really significant to me. So if you think about it, like as far as like in time, 2008 was the last year with the old guard of rappers. I'm not calling them old. I'm just saying like that's like the last year of it. So like that's really
before the blog era. I think it's more the transition of the guard to the blog internet era where they were really taking over. Where you get that XXL class with the Wale's, the Kid Cudis, the currencies and so on and so on. Drake wasn't included in that, but he should have been in that. And you're completely right, because it became a different game at that point. And I think a big thing with this is Snoop right now dropping this. I think this would be well recepted from Snoop. I think right now, I think this is ahead of its time at the time. Snoop showed a dynamic side of him we hadn't seen, of him touching different, like just having Sexual Eruption as the lead single, or Sensual Seduction, whatever you want to call it. That shit was fire. Like, that still goes to this day heavily. There are songs on this that you could play as a deep cut in a party, and it'll work. It's not everybody's gonna know it, but it'll work. This was really like, especially you saying that, exposing what came after. You can't deny that this was already seeing a transition in music, and understanding the dynamic person you had to be growing forward from just being a rapper or being the bigger entity that Snoop Dogg has become.
Yeah. I think it was a big deal because at the time, you had even Snoop just incorporating autotune the way that he did. Like, we had T-Pain this year. T-Pain was like a really big deal. So like I never expected at this time for Snoop to incorporate that into his sound. So when Sexual Eruption came out, with him having the hair the way that he had it, the way that he was dressed in the video, like all of it now is hard to think about because it's like, yeah, that's Snoop when we think about it now. But back then, it was just such a turn for him. And it was embraced immediately. And once he saw that, it's like, all right, well, there's nothing Snoop could do. It's like that he can't do. It's like when Snoop popped up in, was it Explosive video? Not Explosive. Next Episode.
Yes,
Next Episode. With the curls.
Yeah.
That was a big moment too. But it was like, that's just Snoop.
Do you understand what telling a Puerto Rican mom, like, nah, for Halloween, I want to be Snoop?
You wanted to curl your hair?
I was like, yo, let me just grow it out and just do that shit. I was like, no, thank you, Mom.
But Snoop can make you feel like you can get away with anything, man.
Thank you, Mom.
But yeah, so on the album specifically, it kicks off with a word, which is the the intro. Not much to say about it here. Great production, good lead in. You had anything on this one?
Nah, it was just it was a cool, smooth intro. Right now he's like shouting out like the supergroup that he was working on forming at that time, right? QDT, and he mentions Terrace Martin.
Yeah,
and like there's a really cool story with Snoop and Terrace Martin because he had like a full scholarship to go to college. I forgot which prestigious college it was for music, or go on tour with Snoop Dogg. And he chose to go on tour with Snoop Dogg, and like and at that time, everybody told him like, "You're ruining your life. What the hell is going on tour with a rapper going to do for you?" But now, several Grammy Awards later, like many other accolades later, it shows that he made the right decision, betting on himself and trusting Snoop to go on tour with him.
And look at how long Terrace Martin been in the game.
And Terrace Martin is in multiple places throughout this album.
Yeah, he's all over this album.
Yeah.
And I'm sure like writing wise, like of course production wise, like he's all over this. Press Play features Corrupt, and it's produced by DJ Quick, who doesn't get enough credit for his production. Great. I feel like this should have been the intro. Just off the title alone, it's a good lead into the album. A word which is kind of unnecessary when Press Play comes after it.
All right, there's something about Press Play that sounds like it could have been a Just Blaze beat almost, or a Just Blaze throwaway to me. But I love it about it. I don't know if that makes sense.
I get it, but I guess I wouldn't say. I guess it's kind of disrespectful to DJ Quick because DJ Quick came first.
I don't mean to be, and that's what I don't mean to be disrespectful.
So it's like it sounds like I get it, but it's like it's a DJ Quick song.
Makes me think like, damn, Snoop and Just Blaze doing a project together at this time.
That would have been cool.
That would have been fire, because a lot of things like with Snoop that I attribute to is my knowledge of a lot of funk and soul records, and just Snoop being Snoop and who he is. And if you've ever had the luxury of seeing Snoop DJ, that's what he plays.
Snoop is
And
very much like in
you
the
guys
vein
know
of,
me when it comes to 70s funk and soul. That's my bag.
He's very much in the vein of like Bootsy Collins, Parliament.
Yeah, so I just would have loved to see Just Blaze and Snoop do a project together, just touching all those samples that they could have, as Just Blaze could have.
It would be cool, but I guess because he has Dre and DJ Quick, I'm just like,
I get it. I get it. It's different. It's different types of production. For me, it's more that I want that nasally. I want that reverbed soul sample with the voice playing into what you're talking about and rapping about, because I know Snoop has that storytelling capability.
right?
Yeah.
So I wanted to get into how I want Corrupt to talk shit on everything. Corrupt talking shit on this track is so fire to me and was so like significant because like the way it comes in, the beat already like catches your attention, and then it's the sample from the Isley Brothers, and then it's a sample from just the Isley Brothers. So it's the alternate version of Voyage to Atlantis, right? And Corrupt is just on there like you can tell that they got into mad fights because of Corrupt. Back in the day. Like Corrupt just talking so like Corrupt talking so much shit, telling dudes to like inviting them to the Frank stand and everything like that. Like you could tell that like Corrupt got them into like mad shit. Like the way he just talks shit, it just makes you just want to beat his ass. Like I could tell. So I just enjoyed him, and it just got me mad hype like listening to it. I was like, oh shit. So I just wanted to just like point that out right there. Like obviously Quick's production is like the standout. Snoop's lyrics, like the way it just comes on, but like Corrupt popping shit.
Clean.
Top 5 shit talker. right there.
Clean. I never actually considered Corrupt in my shit talking list. But yeah, I think he would go up there when I really think about it.
Yo, tell me.
SD is Out, featuring Charlie Wilson, is produced by Teddy Riley. I think this is one of my favorite songs on this album.
Yo.
This is one of my favorite songs on this album. Charlie Wilson is a fucking treasure. Everything he's on. Yeah.
Voice.
The chorus, like it has that like signature Teddy Riley sound too. That I really like, Teddy Riley being one of the ones that like he's not credited enough for what he did like pre T-Pain, because T-Pain made it a sound like he made that completely his own. But like before him was Teddy Riley with that sound. And he really displayed that on this song and on this chorus. Well, he helps Charlie Wilson display that on this chorus.
Right.
It's a great song.
When I was listening to this, I was just thinking to myself, like, wow, East Coast bias is real. Because when this project dropped, right, like the way the album kicks off, it can make you, it would have made me the way when CDs were a thing when this album came out in 2008, I would have absolutely bought it. I would have went into Virgin Megastore, right, listened to the first 3 or 4 songs on the CD thing and been like, I gotta buy this album. The first 3 songs, all hit. And I'm just thinking to myself, like, wow, I bet you if you go to California, like, this album is, like, hailed, like, like no other, right? The same way how, like, we hail, like, say, like, a Mobb Deep album or something like that. Like, this, I feel like this album has to be coveted. Because in New York, I feel like we really, for Snoop, really only covered Doggy Style.
Yeah, I agree.
Like, we don't acknowledge, like, his other albums and stuff like that, right?
I think Rhythm and Gangsta was coveted.
No.
Well, probably not in New York.
All right. So we
That's
have
what
to
I'm saying.
accept.
You was in the Midwest.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, in New York, they appreciate nobody. Like, I've never heard anybody. Well, you're on like
There's one
this
of
is
the
what I'm
few
saying.
episodes me and Tori are gonna accept that we have a bias. All right, fuck y'all.
So what I'm just saying is just that when Doggy Style dropped, when you go through New York, there was nothing else that you heard, right? But what I'm saying is that there's never been that feeling for another Snoop album in New York since. Like you never where everywhere you go. Like I'll tell you another time
There's
I had
mad
that feeling.
singles. The singles have stuck, but it's never been an album situation that the whole album rang true to us. Besides Doggy Style.
Another time that was the case was Forget Rich or Die Trying, where every block you went to, you heard the songs. So what I'm just saying is with Snoop, it was like, yo, Snoop Dogg is cool as fuck. I would love to smoke weed with him, but it wasn't everybody like having his music being played. Like, of course it would get played on the radio and stuff like that.
Damn, his No Limit run didn't do nothing out here?
Nah, it really okay.
There's No Limit.
I feel like we can cover that because I enjoyed it, but I feel like I also got looked at crazy because I'm not supported in my support of the No Limit Snoop run. People did not fuck with it in New York.
You want to know what happened? So our generation went to college. And when they went to college, it was a lot of songs that they got put onto, like "Fuck Them Other Niggas" and stuff like that. So then you got to remember also the song with Pharrell, "Drop It Like It's Hot." Like that song came out, and like that song was like beloved. But like Snoop albums in New York, everybody just respected Snoop and everybody just acknowledged Snoop. But like there were never like albums where everybody was like, "Yo, you gotta listen to this."
Yeah,
shit.
like yo, I was in sixth grade.
I was
in sixth grade and I was fucking with Cash Money when they had The Block Is Hot and Baller Block in movies on VHS.
Yeah.
And nobody fucked with me when I had those. Like there was one kid, Nico. Nico, you shouted out this podcast before. Like you be on Facebook. I don't see you like that, but like, yo, shout out to you because you be actually posting this up in fucking your forums. But nah, Nico was the only kid besides me. This fucking white fucking Brazilian kid who was like, nah, Cash Money got fired. And I was like, yes, Cash Money got fired. He was the only other kid who was like, nah, this is it. This is it. And yeah. And as they kept going, it was like, yo, y'all fuck with Lil Wayne at fucking the Carter. You didn't fuck with Lil Wayne when it was 500 degrees or the block was hot. Mm-hmm. Like that's why I'm like with Lil Wayne, and Lil Wayne is extra in my high regards.
Yeah, okay. Well, yeah, like I think that's funny. Every time we have these conversations too, it always like I've been in New York for so long that like when we had these conversations, it just makes me think like, damn, because I just assumed that like certain shit was just received a certain way. Just like when Taurian had time in Atlanta, he can assume like certain shit was received a certain way. But like for me, like Snoop was like heavily regarded for his albums, not just for who he was.
All right. So the other day, me and this girl was getting into the mood, and she told me, I need to, trim the yard.
Oh, damn.
And I don't, do you have any recommendations?
You know what? Funny you say that because I got in a similar situation. I had to do some digging. I found some shit, bro. I got to put you on.
Please do.
It's called Manscaped, and Manscaped gave us a code that I want you to use. You can get 20% off, bro.
Get out of
here. Y'all too. Wrap in order 20. You use that. You go to manscaped.com. Get 20% off your order.
Wow, she is going to be so happy.
And, she won't have no hair on her teeth.
And your balls will thank you.
Yeah, so Never Have to Worry features Terrace Martin and Uncle Chuck. Mm-hmm. It's produced by Snoop himself and Terrace Martin. Any thoughts on this one?
I think we touched it. We already know how it is with the energy they have. It's great. It's a fun vibe, and I think that's where this is where Snoop. We discuss him growing into his pop culture fandom. I think this album specifically is the turn where it's like, nah, we're gonna have fun. Mm-hmm. This is the way we've heard Snoop. This is the way we have. Yeah, I guess that's the way to say it. We've heard Snoop in a way we haven't before. Mm-hmm. He's having fun. This is the first time he's letting go. Besides having any more than a more rap straight up persona.
Yeah.
Like Snoop ego tripping, like I think it makes sense to that too. Like he's understanding his pop culture significance. Like let go of it.
A lot of it is that.
Yeah, don't let go of being a thug. You got it. You're bigger than that. You're the world's definition of hip hop.
Yeah, and this is him just embracing all types of music that he really fucks with, and which leads into the big single of this album, which was "Sexual Eruption." We already touched on it before, but it was produced by Shawty Redd, which I don't think I knew before. Did you know that?
Say Shawty Redd again, please.
Shawty Redd.
It's Shawty Redd. Okay, we're just making sure.
Yeah, I don't think I knew that it was produced by Shawty Redd before.
I knew that.
Before I listened to the album again.
I knew that, and I thought that there was two Shawty Redds.
Yeah,
I heard it, and I was like, "This is not the nigga that made Air Force Ones for Jeezy."
Yeah, no. At this point, Shorty Red's name was going around, so you're already like, okay. And knowing, if you're paying attention to like the Southern scene at the time, his name was popping up. So when this came up, you're like, oh, this wasn't like you thought it was, because you're coming up on the fucking This is probably 2008. This is when like it's two dope boys, two every like then they're fucking posting shit, and you're just learning to watch and read from there, and learning how to download what you need to download from there.
Well, but yeah, we already know how Sexual Eruption is really, really fucking popular because I tried to look for the vinyl, and that shit is expensive. I just wanted it on vinyl because I like the song so much, but that shit is expensive. It's like.
All right, so I feel like there's not a night in life that song doesn't get played at least 3,000 times in one night.
Like
not necessarily in the world. In the world, that's what I'm saying.
Oh.
Like I feel like at least worldwide, like there's never a night at certain places that doesn't get played.
That was a really specific number.
It's just immediate, like right there at that moment, at like 2:31 at night, the world knows to play that or some shit.
Okay, Danny. That's funny. Let me see. So the samples are "In Step" by Girl Talk, "Joy FM" by Oriole, and "Let Go" by Distinction. I don't know. Shit. Now you got me fucking up. Anyway, so when I first heard this song, I couldn't really believe that it was Snoop Dogg, and because it didn't sound like T-Pain, because T-Pain did a different thing, because T-Pain changed his microphone. Yeah. Snoop was using the tube, like Ralph Troutman was.
The vocoder.
Roger Troutman. I'm sorry, his name is Roger Troutman, and you know he worked with the group Cameo, and they did Computer Love, correct? So I just thought that was really cool, and he did the hook on not Computer Love, on California Love. I'm sorry. So that was just really dope. So, you know, really good thing that Snoop was able to do that and give like a callback to like the 80s and the 70s and stuff.
Yeah,
like that. I thought it was dope.
It's all
more traditional.
I thought so too, and it's also one of those songs that it's one of the only songs, one of the few songs that the edited version is better than the sexual. I prefer Sexual Seduction over Sexual Eruption. I
kind of agree with that. A big thing with that though too.
Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just don't want to think about a nigga nut.
This is for you guys. Is this the official Uncle Snoop defining moment? Because for me, that's what it was. It was like, nah, Snoop is like, because we already knew Snoop had this funkadelic, the whole funk influence and everything. This, I think, is the first time we hear Snoop making a full on sound that could have been like of that era. I kind of feel like this was the moment finally, and because he had all of these commercial things going at the time, he had already had the polarizing moment with Martha Stewart at the VMAs. He's already had this. Like, I feel like this is finally Snoop. Like, nobody else felt like it made sense. Like, once he did this, I was like, it makes the most sense, and I love this.
I had that moment before this album though. Like I thought that, like, because Snoop was already doing cool stuff. Like, he was in a Starsky. He was already becoming like a crossover pop star, like in a Starsky and Hutch movie. He was always like He was always a reference. Like Betty White talked about him and stuff like that. So to me, like, he was already Uncle Snoop before that.
Wait, shout out to Betty White. She's about to be 100 years old.
Yes. Oh, nice. But yeah. So this. With Snoop, it's just like he was already like this pop culture larger than life icon to me. So by this album, yeah, he was already Uncle Snoop. He was Uncle Snoop way. Him and LL Cool J were both my uncles by this time.
But yeah, so with this being the big single aside, we had some other really big noteworthy songs on this album, right? I mean, "Life of the Party" with Too Short. That beat, I forgot that was on this album.
Yeah.
Went till I was listening back, and
it wasn't even a single, right?
No, it was a single.
It was a single?
It was absolutely a single.
I feel like that was a sleeper. That
no, it was not a single.
I had a video and everything.
Yeah, it was absolutely a single.
Yeah, this was
because that shit used to come on and you'd be like, oh.
This album had 5 singles: "Sensual Seduction," "Never Have to Worry," "Life of the Party," "My Medicine," and "Those Girls."
Yeah,
I feel like "Life of the Party" is the only one that's really survived though.
"Sexual Seduction."
Yeah.
No. I mean, that's the standout. Of course, that shit gets played every night. Like I said,
like outside of that one.
Like I said, still to this day, that gets played 2,000 to 3,000 times a night.
You win that number.
So let's go, Reg.
But then, you got Cool on this album. Cool kind of takes me. It throws me off a little bit, but it's a Prince sample. He sampled Prince on that, and it's produced by Teddy Riley. This song is what kind of throws this album in a completely different direction, but I like it. What's your thoughts on this one?
I'll be honest with you, like once we
I
get
didn't
to
expect this shit at all.
once we get to all right, so this is my thing. After Life of the Party, Wasted Time doesn't make sense to me. Because like I get what Snoop's doing.
Oh, Raphael Sadiq.
Because it's with Raphael Sadiq, I get what Snoop's doing, but it's just like because at that time the show was on, like I was like, all right, this nigga's not dating, like he's married, so who, like, what woman is he talking to? It's like you just don't feel that, and you know this isn't about him and Boss Lady because he also has a song talking about like
the
dedicated to her,
reconciliation,
right? So it's just like this was just like a random ass. So I'm like, why didn't you write this and get this song to somebody else? I didn't want that song.
Yeah,
A Waste of Time just didn't make sense to me, right? Cool was a dope flip.
So wait, I have a quick question. And let's think to it now. In hindsight, even though you know what you know, it don't sound better now than it did back then, because I think it sounds better now than it did back then.
I hate that song. Like I wish this album was only 10 songs long.
I feel like it's not as bad as I remember it being. I feel back in the day, I used to feel like it was just a forced song, and I feel like now it's kind of like, okay, I could kind of see Snoop doing something like this more now than then.
Nah.
Okay.
So I think what else? What other?
Okay, I'm gonna tell you.
Tracks that
Other track that I love on this album and made me wonder what the fuck was Snoop's budget. Sets up, and that was the Neptunes. And Pharrell is on the hook.
Yeah,
bro.
Son, what the fuck was Snoop's budget?
But this is what we already know. I feel like this is one of those questions that we don't budget because we already knew Snoop had a different relationship with the Neptunes at this point.
Huh? Yeah, it is paid the cost to be the boss, and actually, paid. Beautiful, you're right. Was 2002.
Question, and this is a big question. Who utilizes Charlie Wilson better, Snoop Dogg or Kanye West?
Snoop Dogg.
Snoop. There's more feeling in it.
Yeah.
There's more feeling in it.
I think Snoop Dogg.
No. Okay. So here.
Here's
what I feel.
Hold on.
Go ahead.
Hold on. What's your top 3 Kanye use songs for Charlie Wilson?
All right. So, See Me Now, Right Now.
I never really liked that song that much.
See Me Now with Kanye,
and
Beyonce, and Big Sean. Mm-hmm. That's crazy. And your man's on there, right?
Yeah. Bound. I don't like everything he does. I love Bound.
Lord.
New Slaves ain't up there?
Huh?
New Slaves
Charlie
ain't
Wilson
up there?
not on that.
Yes, he is.
New Slaves?
At the end.
Oh.
He's at the end. I mean, he's also on Flashing Lights at the end. Well, he did the original version of Flashing Lights, but that don't count. But yeah, like I just enjoy what Kanye and Charlie do together. Those is rappers' keys.
Yeah, no, I like
those rappers' keys. Kanye West, shut up, Kanye West. Those is rappers' keys.
I do enjoy what Charlie Wilson and Kanye do. Snoop got Signs with Charlie Wilson. Signs is my shit.
Mad shit with Charlie.
Snoop has Peaches and Cream with Charlie Wilson. That's my shit too.
Snoop has mad shit with
Charlie. And what was the other one that I just saw?
So we're gonna go about it, and I'm just gonna explain.
Well, SD is out. Is on my list too.
All right.
Yeah. But those are 3 elite ones. But Kanye does have some really good ones with Charlie. So I'm not shitting on it at all. He has some great ones.
For me, the distinction with them is more Snoop uses things Charlie's already done and kind of embellishes on it more and creates it more with him. And I kind of feel like Kanye is just instrumental in conducting.
Let's say your 3 though.
For who or which one?
What? Nigga, you
Charlie
said
the top.
Nigga, you said Snoop Dogg. You said Snoop Dogg was who you roll with.
Okay. I still love that Big Pimpin' sample with him and Nate Dogg. Snoop and Nate Dogg. Mm-hmm. We get the Dogfather with it, and One More Day.
Wait, is Beautiful not a part of that? Isn't he on Beautiful?
I guess these niggas don't like Beautiful. I don't know. That's what I've been. That
is on Beautiful.
Yeah. Okay. So my bad.
Beautiful's ain't it for me.
I'm thinking like, all right, y'all niggas got a trump card, but y'all niggas ain't neither one of y'all say it, but whatever.
I'll put Beautiful on there.
That's fine.
I'll take SD.
I want to hear where I want to hear Snoop at. Beautiful is just like cool. It's cool.
Is a ban on.
That's fine.
Well, that's a later
Okay,
conversation. For us.
so all right, I just wanted to have like that moment because like I really thought about that, like Snoop and Kanye, of all the artists, right, that like have kind of like made like helped Charlie Wilson like get his reemergence. I think those are the two artists that I would say are closest to Charlie Wilson.
I think
and they both utilize him really well.
I think Kanye gave Charlie Wilson more of a reemergence than Snoop though.
I think
he put him more in that.
Because here's the thing.
I think Kanye definitely introduced.
Because I knew
with Snoop, I give Snoop that credit.
Yeah, I knew
2002.
Charlie Wilson's name because of Snoop, not because of Kanye.
Well, I knew Charlie Wilson's name because my grandparents played the Gap Band.
Let me finish.
That's a different story, but yes. I had to go back to my father. My father was like, that's how me and my father made friends.
So yeah,
like, Dad,
so
who's this guy?
I think Kanye.
Oh, that's him, motherfucker.
You done? Are you
shit.
done? Are you done?
No, because you're wrong. Oh, yeah, right. Go ahead.
Okay, so I think what I'm saying is that Kanye put Charlie Wilson more in the crowd of like the younger people, the younger crowd, like Gen Z knows Charlie Wilson because of Kanye.
I don't know, bro. I feel like Beautiful did that.
I feel like
the 90s, yeah.
I feel like 90s is still millennial though, and we're the last edition.
Yeah,
of
we are millennial, but Gen Z
is after us.
Is after us,
yeah,
and they know Charlie Wilson.
We are part of that as to why.
If you ask a Gen Zer why they know Charlie Wilson, or if they know Charlie Wilson, it's because of Kanye.
Right. Yeah, you're right.
That's what I'm saying.
100%.
And you would have heard that if you wasn't cutting me off so much.
Nah, but I like cutting you off.
Let's get to ratings.
We'll get back to this. As far you guys didn't have anything to say about My Medicine, which features Willie Nelson.
Yo, I did not need that fucking song. I'm sorry.
He got really experimental toward that.
He really got you're throwing a Jimmy Cash. I went to sleep at that.
Oh, point. Johnny Cash.
Cash.
You said Jimmy Cash.
All right, we're gonna get you some water. So we're gonna wrap up. I think I'm comfortable giving this a strong 3.5. I like where Snoop went with this. I like that he got really experimental toward the end. A lot of it I didn't necessarily need toward the end. I think I agree with you where you said it should have been like 10 tracks.
Yeah,
that would have been cool. Yes. And when you said that, it actually reminded me that Snoop's album Bush. I don't know if you guys ever heard that.
I love that Bush album. Yeah,
that's a more refined version of this album. Like Bush is amazing. It's a great album. It's him
and Pharrell.
Yeah, it's him, Pharrell. He has features on there from Kendrick, Rick Ross, T.I. It's a great album, and it's only 10 songs.
Yeah,
it's really, really easy to listen to.
I'm actually gonna go check that out.
I agree with you, Reg. 3.5 out of 5 is good, because the highs are so good on this album, right? But it's just that the lows, like you could tell, like, all right, cool. I give Snoop a long leash because he's so fucking cool. Like I will say this much, right? What the amount of slack that I give Snoop, I don't give other rappers, but I know, because I know that Snoop is experimental and like he smokes a lot of weed, so sometimes he'll be like, "Fuck it, cuz let's do this." I'm Snoop, so I know that a lot of the times that's his like go to, and I know that like on this project, this was like the first time since he had left Death Row, right, went to No Limit and everything like that, he kind of felt free because in a lot of interviews, like Snoop was saying, like, yo, I could sell one album, I could sell 200,000 albums first week, I could sell 1 million albums. Like, I've done everything. Like, this was the first time I think that like he was like seeing all of his money, and he had got like a decent job with Geffen Records or whatever like that. Mm-hmm. So I think that like he was like fully comfortable, and that's why like he made the album that he wanted to make. So let me get back to it. 3.5 out of 5 album for Snoop Dogg for this album.
Okay, and Danny?
I'm gonna go 3.5, not for the same reasons, but I kind of feel like this was his fully understanding of himself. And I think after this, you can't deny who... I mean, before this, you couldn't. But I think this is finally Snoop accepting who he is in the spectrum of pop culture overall.
Well, I think even more so than that, I think it's him shaping who he would become.
That's
it's not. Yeah, it's not him
yeah.
accepting it. It's him like creating
It's
it.
him defining who he is in the pop culture realm.
For sure.
I can accept that. Yeah.
Okay, so we comfortable with 3.5, fellas?
Yeah.
Cool.
Consensus.
Cool. So yeah, man. I think for our listeners, it's an album worth checking out. I think it's a forgotten about album from Snoop.
Surprisingly good.
But in a lot of ways, it's a defining album for Snoop.
Yes.
So it's definitely worth the listen. I'm First Class Reg.
I'm Taurian B.
We are out of here.
All right, catch you guys next time.